When I start a portrait drawing, I approach the problem in a number of different ways. Sometimes I work very generally, trying to block in the big masses, eventually trying to find the details. And whenever I do that, I inevitably get to a situation in a drawing where I realise that I've made some fundamental errors in terms of the placement of those features. So in some drawings, I might begin with an eye, and I'm paying really careful attention to the proportions of that eye. What I then start to do is I'll begin to work out from that eye, beginning to consider the connectedness of the eye to other parts of the head. Start to think about where one eye relates to another eye. Think about the relationship between one eye and the next in terms of the distance apart. Think about the parallels. Through one eye, one invariably finds the next, making sure that the heights of the eye are the same. When you're drawing an eye, you try to divorce yourself from the idea of what you know about the eye. And one way of doing that is to focus on the shape that the eye makes with the rest of the eyelid. So drawing the space between one side of the iris and another is more advantageous than blocking in a circle for the iris. Depending on the face, some faces have more information than others. So cross-referencing, thinking about what lines up with an element vertically and horizontally, so a nose in relationship to what you've already drawn, thinking about what vertical and horizontal alignments occur. The more shapes you have within the face, the easier this makes. So older faces, more wrinkly faces are easier to draw than younger faces and more delicate faces. Here I'm trying to find the positioning of the mouth, and it's crucial that I measure the mouth in relationship to what I've already measured. This gap between the base of the nostril and the top of the lip seems an enormous distance, so it's constantly being checked. Again, angles between things. Once one's established those small spaces, if you work through the small spaces inevitably build together to make larger ones. It's very easy to missee small distances, particularly when you're dealing with the head. The nose is generally assumed to be in the centre of the head. So when you're dealing with a 3/4 view, it's very easy to misconstrue the positioning of that. Equally, areas of the head, for instance the forehead, the side of the head, are very easy to undersee. So again, it's important to measure the scale of the head against things which you've already done. So in this instance, the measurement between the eyes has been used to help calculate the back of the head. Don't try to think about drawing hair, but instead think about the main directions and structures of hair, and think about how you draw those. Consider the weight of the hand on the pencil and how that's capable of making different weights of mark, and how those marks then become equivalent to flesh which is under tension, bone, muscle, etc. Gradually, once you've established the small shapes can be certainly used to calculate the bigger ones.